The stars looked different from the edge of the Andromeda system. Lieutenant Jai-yun Kim stood at the viewport of her small scout ship, watching the unfamiliar patterns of light. She was alone in the command room. The rest of her 5-person crew was sleeping. Someone had to keep watch, even with the ship's advanced sensors. Jai-yun was 32 years old, with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. 8 years in Earth's space fleet had taught her to stay alert. This mission was supposed to be simple: map the outer edges of this system and look for resources. They were 3 weeks in with no problems. That changed in an instant. The alarm blared, red lights flashing across the dark control room. Jai-yun's hands flew across the control panel. "Everyone up. Battle stations," she shouted into the ship's comm system. The radar showed 3 large ships appearing from nowhere. They had been hiding, waiting. "Captain, what's happening?" Minho's voice came through the speakers. He was the youngest crew member. "Unknown ships, 3 of them. Big ones," Jai-yun said. Her training kicked in. "Prepare the jump drive. We're leaving." But it was too late. A purple beam shot from the largest enemy ship, hitting their engines. The scout ship shuddered. "Engine down. Jump drive not responding," called Tai-yun from engineering. Jai-yun grabbed her weapon. "Defensive positions. Prepare to be boarded." Through the viewport, she could see the ships clearly now. They were black with purple lights, shaped like arrowheads. Nothing like any ships in human records. The boarding happened fast. The hull breached with a terrible screech of metal. Jai-yun fired her laser pistol at the first creature that entered. It was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin like black oil. Her shot hit it square in the chest, but it didn't even slow down. More creatures poured in. They moved like shadows, fast and silent. Jai-yun heard her crew fighting in the other sections of the ship. She took down 2 more attackers before something hit her from behind. As she fell, Jai-yun pressed the emergency beacon on her wrist. A distress signal would now broadcast to any human ships in the sector. It might be years before anyone found it. The creatures dragged her through her own ship. She saw Minho lying on the floor, not moving. Tai-yun was being carried away, unconscious. Jai-yun fought harder, managing to break one arm free. She grabbed a fallen weapon and shot the nearest attacker in the face. It screeched, the first sound she'd heard them make. 6 more surrounded her. One pressed something cold against her neck, and her muscles stopped working. She could still see and hear, but couldn't move a finger. They carried her to their ship. Inside, it was cold and smelled like metal and something sweet that made her head spin. The walls glowed purple. They strapped her to a table and injected her with something that burned through her veins. When Jai-yun could move again, she was in a small cell with clear walls. Creatures walked past, stopping to look at her. They clicked and hissed to each other. One tapped information into a screen beside her cell. Only then did the shock hit her. Her ship was gone. Her crew was probably dead. No one knew where she was. No one was coming to help. Hot tears of rage filled Jai-yun's eyes. She didn't cry from fear. She cried from fury. She slammed her fists against the clear wall and screamed. The creatures watched with interest. One made notes on a device. It wrote in its strange language. Subject cried on day 1. Weak species. Jai-yun didn't know what they were writing. She didn't know these were the Voidwalkers, feared across 3 galaxies for their combat arenas. She didn't know they had never captured a human before. She only knew one thing. She would find a way to make them pay. Jai-yun woke up to a loud buzzing sound. Her head hurt. The clear walls of her cell had turned cloudy white overnight. When they cleared again, she found herself in a different place. This cell was bigger, with a metal bed and a small sink. The walls were still clear, but now she could see other cells across a wide hallway. Each one held a different creature. Some looked almost human. Others had extra limbs, strange skin, or no eyes at all. "You're awake. Good." The voice came from the cell to her right. Jia turned and saw a human man. He was tall and thin with dark circles under his eyes. His left arm was covered in scars. Another human, Jia said. Who are you? Daho, research ship Horizon. Captured 4 months ago. He spoke in short sentences, like someone who didn't waste energy on extra words. And you? Lieutenant Jia Kim, scout ship Pathfinder. She moved closer to the wall between them. What is this place? Who are they? Daho laughed without humor. Welcome to the Voidwalker Arena. They collect fighters from across the galaxy. He pointed to a large door at the end of the hallway. Through there is the arena. We fight for their entertainment. Jia felt cold all over. Fight? Against what? Against whoever they choose, sometimes animals, sometimes each other. Daho rolled up his sleeve, showing more scars. I survived 27 fights. Win 100. They say you go free. Has anyone ever won 100? Daho shook his head. Not that I've seen. A loud bell rang. Food appeared through slots in the wall. Jia's meal was a gray paste that smelled like nothing. Eat, said Daho. You'll need your strength. Jia pushed the food away. I won't fight for them. Then you'll die. The voice came from across the hall. A huge reptile-like creature with green scales stood at the front of its cell. It had a crest of red spikes on its head. Everyone fights eventually. This is Kreth, Daho explained. He's been here longer than me. 143 fights. Kreth bared yellow teeth. The human female looks weak. She won't last one match. Jia ignored him and turned back to Daho. Have you tried to escape? Many times. The Voidwalkers are too smart, too strong. Daho pointed to a purple mark on his neck. And they put these trackers in us. Try to run. And they send pain through your whole body. For 3 days, Jia refused to eat. She spent her time watching everything. The guards' movements, the cell doors, the other prisoners. She exercised in her cell to keep her strength up, even without food. On the 4th day, the Voidwalker guards came. They were even taller up close, with 4 arms and skin that seemed to swallow light. They opened her cell and motioned for her to follow. Time for your first fight. Daho called after her. Remember, stay alive. They led Jia through long purple hallways to a small room. Inside were pieces of light armor. The guards pointed, making it clear she should put them on. Jia considered refusing, but her military training kicked in. Survival first. She put on the chest plate, arm guards, and leg protectors. They gave her no weapons. A door opened at the far end of the room. Bright light poured in. Jia heard roaring sounds, a crowd cheering. The guards pushed her forward. She stepped into a massive arena with high walls. Thousands of Voidwalkers sat in seats around the circle, their black bodies like holes in space. They made clicking sounds when they saw her. Across the arena, another door opened. A creature 8 feet tall walked out. It looked like a giant spider with armored legs and sharp fangs, dripping green liquid. Now Jia understood why Daho had so many scars, why Kreth thought she would die. But Lieutenant Jia Kim had not survived 8 years in Earth's space fleet by giving up. She took a deep breath and studied her opponent. If they wanted a fight, she would give them one. The spider creature charged at Jia. Its 8 legs moved quickly across the sandy floor of the arena. The crowd of Voidwalkers made excited clicking sounds. Jia did not run. She did not panic. Instead, she watched the creature's movements. The spider was fast but heavy. Each step left deep marks in the sand. Think, she told herself. Use your training. The spider shot a string of sticky web at her. Jia rolled to the side. The web missed her by inches. She noticed the creature had to stop moving to shoot its web. That was a weakness. The arena had large rocks scattered around the edges. Jia ran toward one of them. The spider followed, just as she wanted. When she reached the rock, Jai-yun turned quickly. The spider tried to stop but slid in the sand. It crashed into the rock, shaking its head in pain. The crowd grew louder. Jai-yun looked around for a weapon. There was nothing but sand and rocks. She picked up a handful of sand as the spider turned to face her again. This time, when the creature charged, Jai-yun stood her ground until the last second. When the spider opened its fangs to bite her, she threw the sand directly into its many eyes. The creature screeched and shook its head wildly. Jai-yun used this moment to run to the other side of the arena. She needed time to find a better plan. The spider recovered quickly. It seemed angrier now. It followed her, clicking its fangs together. Jai-yun noticed something important. The creature's underside wasn't protected by the hard shell that covered its back. That was another weakness. She picked up a sharp rock the size of her fist. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. The spider shot more webs. Jai-yun ducked behind a large rock. The webs stuck to the rock instead. While the creature tried to pull its webs free, Jai-yun ran to the center of the arena where the sand was deepest. She began digging quickly, making a shallow hole. The spider freed itself and charged at her again. This time, Jai-yun stood over the hole she had made. When the spider was just a few feet away, she jumped to the side. The creature's front legs sank into the soft sand of the hole. It struggled to pull free. Jai-yun didn't waste this chance. She ran to the trapped spider and slid underneath it. With all her strength, she drove the sharp rock into the soft underside of the creature. Green liquid poured out. The spider made a terrible sound. It pulled free from the hole and tried to turn around, but it was wounded badly. Jai-yun picked up another rock. The spider was slower now, bleeding and angry. It tried once more to shoot its web, but the sticky string fell short. With cold determination, Jai-yun circled the creature. She was looking for the right moment. When the spider tried to lunge at her, it stumbled. Jai-yun rushed forward and struck the same wound with her rock. Again and again, until the spider's legs curled inward and it stopped moving. The arena went silent. Then the clicking sound started again, louder than before. The Voidwalkers had not expected the small human to win. Jai-yun stood over the dead creature, breathing hard. She was covered in green blood and sand, but she had no tears now. Her face showed no emotion at all. In their viewing box, the Voidwalker leaders watched with interest. One made notes on a screen. Subject exhibits unexpected tactical intelligence. Reassess threat level. The guards came to take Jai-yun back to her cell. As she walked out of the arena, she looked directly at the leader's viewing box. Her eyes were cold and calculating. The Voidwalkers did not understand what that look meant. They would learn soon enough. When Jai-yun returned to her cell, Daho stared at her with new eyes. "You killed a Graknar," he said, "on your first try, without weapons." Jai-yun washed the green blood off her arms. "It had weaknesses. We all thought you would die," called Kreth from across the hall. His voice sounded different now, less mocking. Jai-yun said nothing. She was busy thinking. The next day, the prisoners were allowed into a common area for 1 hour. This happened every 3 days. Jai-yun had watched through her cell wall before, but now she could join them. She walked straight to a small man fixing a broken pipe in the corner. He had been in the cell 2 doors down from hers. She had noticed how quickly he took things apart and put them back together. "I'm Jai-yun," she said. The man looked up. He had a thin face and careful hands. "Hyunwoo," he said, "engineer from Earth Station 12. 1 year here." "You're good with machines," said Jai-yun. Hyunwoo nodded. "They make me fix things. Better than fighting." Jai-yun lowered her voice. "Could you build something if you had the right parts?" Hyunwoo's eyes widened. He looked around to make sure no guards were listening. "Depends what you need." "I'm not sure yet," said Jai-yun, "but I will be." Next, Jai-yun approached a blue-skinned woman with silver eyes. The woman had been watching Jai-yun since she entered the room. "You're different," the woman said before Jai-yun could speak. "You don't feel fear like the others." "Who are you?" asked Jai-yun. "Sora. My people can sense emotions." She tapped her silver eyes. "The guards use me to tell if prisoners are planning trouble." Jai-yun tensed. "Are you going to tell them about me?" Sora smiled. "No, I want to see what you will do. The Voidwalkers took my family. I have waited for someone like you." Over the next few days, Jai-yun fought 2 more battles. She won both. Each time, she studied the arena carefully, looking for exits, weapons, and guard positions. During exercise periods, she began mapping the facility in her head. She counted steps between areas, noted where cameras watched, and timed the guard changes. Daho joined her after her 3rd win. "What are you doing?" he whispered as they walked laps around the exercise yard. "Learning," said Jai-yun. "Did you know the Voidwalkers change guards every 6 hours, or that they never look up when they walk?" Daho frowned. "Why does that matter?" "Everything matters," said Jai-yun. "Have you noticed they react to high-pitched sounds? Their hearing is different from ours." One day, when Sora was nearby, Jai-yun made a very high whistling sound. The guards flinched and turned away. "Interesting," Jai-yun said. After her 5th win in the arena, the Voidwalkers gave Jai-yun better food. They also watched her more closely. Hyunwoo passed her a small metal object during exercise time. "I made this from parts in the work area," he whispered. "It makes a sound too high for us to hear, but it hurts them." Jai-yun slipped it into her shoe. Perfect. By her 7th win, other prisoners began to watch Jai-yun with hope in their eyes. They moved when she moved. They listened when she spoke. Kreth approached her in the common area. "You're planning something," he said. "Yes," answered Jai-yun honestly. "Count me in," said Kreth. The Voidwalkers noticed the change. Prisoners who once fought each other now sat together. They exchanged whispers when the guards weren't looking. One Voidwalker leader wrote in his report, "Human female showing leadership qualities. Prisoners responding to her presence. Recommend separating her from others." But it was already too late. Jai-yun had built something more dangerous than any weapon. She had built hope. By day 15, Jai-yun had won 8 fights. Each victory made the other prisoners trust her more. During exercise time, they gathered around her in small groups. They looked like they were just talking, but they were really planning. "Hanwoo," Jai-yun said quietly, "how many of those sound devices can you make?" Hyunwoo thought for a moment. 10, maybe 12. If I can get more metal parts." "I'll get them," said Kreth. He now followed Jai-yun's orders without question. "The work area has plenty of scrap metal." Jai-yun nodded. "Sora, what have you learned from the guards?" The blue-skinned woman leaned in. "A new ship is coming in 10 days. It brings more prisoners. The guards will be busy that day." "That's when we move," said Jai-yun. Daho had been quiet until now. "It won't work," he said. "Others have tried. The Voidwalkers are too strong." "Others didn't have what we have," said Jai-yun. "Unity, strategy, and their weakness." Jai-yun's 9th arena battle was against 2 smaller creatures at once. They were fast and worked together well. But Jai-yun had learned something new. Before each fight, she would walk to the center of the arena and stand still, studying everything. This made the crowd go quiet. They were never sure what she would do. During this fight, she tried something different. When she had one creature cornered, instead of killing it quickly, she leaned down and whispered to it, "Tell the others. The human will free us all." Then she ended the fight with a quick, clean strike. The crowd cheered, but the Voidwalkers in charge looked worried. They had never seen a prisoner act this way. After her 10th win, Jai-yun was given a bigger cell. This gave her more freedom to move around. It also meant she could see more of the prison. On day 16, during work duty, Hyunwoo slipped Jae-yun a handful of small metal devices. "They make the sound that hurts them," he whispered. "Press here to turn them on." Jae-yun hid them in her clothes. Later, she gave some to Kreth, some to Sora, and kept 2 for herself. "We need more allies," Jae-yun told her group. "Spread the word. Tell everyone who hates the Voidwalkers." Sora touched Jae-yun's arm. "Be careful. The guards sense something is changing. They watch you more now." Jae-yun smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Let them watch." That night, Jae-yun started the next part of her plan. During her fights, she had been playing a role: cold, quiet, deadly. Now she added something new. Before finishing each opponent, she would whisper something. Soon, rumors spread through the prison. "The human doesn't just kill you," prisoners whispered. "She tells you secrets before you die." The Voidwalkers heard these rumors too. They started putting microphones in the arena to hear what Jae-yun was saying. But she was too smart. She covered her mouth when she whispered. On day 19, Daho finally joined Jae-yun's resistance. "I watched your last fight," he said. "You could have died, but you used their fear against them." "Fear is a weapon," said Jae-yun. "Like any weapon, you can use it." The next day, the Voidwalkers changed their plans. They wanted to stop Jae-yun's growing power among the prisoners. They decided to match her against the one prisoner who might beat her. When the fight list appeared on the wall screen, everyone went quiet. Jae-yun's name was next to Kreth's. "They want to break our alliance," Jae-yun told Kreth. "Don't hold back in the fight. Make it look real." Kreth nodded. "What is the plan?" "Win or lose," said Jae-yun. "This fight will serve our purpose." The Voidwalkers thought they were being clever. They didn't understand that Jae-yun was always 3 steps ahead. The arena was packed for the fight between Jae-yun and Kreth. The Voidwalkers clicked excitedly. They had never seen the human female fight someone so much bigger and stronger. Jae-yun entered first. She walked to the center as always, calm and focused. When Kreth entered, the crowd roared. He stood 2 feet taller than Jae-yun, and his green scales gleamed under the lights. "Make it look real," Jae-yun had told him. And he did. Kreth charged at Jae-yun with a loud roar. She dodged his first attack, but his tail caught her leg. She fell hard. The crowd cheered. Jae-yun rolled away as Kreth's fist smashed the ground where she had been. She was fast, but Kreth was much stronger. When she tried to get behind him, he spun quickly and caught her with his claws. 3 cuts opened on her arm. Real blood. Real pain. This was no act. The Voidwalkers clicked with pleasure. Their plan was working. Jae-yun backed away, breathing hard. Kreth followed, showing his sharp teeth. But when they were on the far side of the arena, away from most cameras, Kreth whispered, "Now." Jae-yun nodded slightly. She reached into her boot where she had hidden one of Hyunwoo's sound devices. She pressed the button. Human ears couldn't hear it, but Kreth could. And so could the Voidwalkers. The guards near the arena grabbed their heads in pain. The Voidwalkers in the crowd became confused. Some tried to leave. Jae-yun used this moment. She leaped at Kreth, who pretended to be surprised. They fought hard, making it look real. Jae-yun took more hits, bleeding from her lip and eyebrow. But she also landed strong blows. The fight lasted longer than any of her previous ones. Finally, Jae-yun got Kreth in a hold he had shown her during practice. He pretended to struggle, then fell still. Jae-yun stood over him, victorious again. The crowd was quieter now. The Voidwalkers didn't understand what had happened to their guards or why they felt strange during the fight. After this win, Jae-yun was moved to a special section for top fighters. Her new cell was larger and had better food. More importantly, she could now move around more freely inside the prison. But the next day brought terrible news. They took Hyunwoo, Sora told Jae-yun during exercise time. Her silver eyes were filled with worry. To the labs. They want to study humans now. Jia-yun's face turned cold. When? Last night, after your fight. They think humans have special abilities. Jia-yun's fists tightened. We need to move faster. The new prisoners arrive in 7 days. That's too long. What can we do? Asked Daho. Jia-yun looked at the guards standing by the door. They kept their distance from her now. We go tonight, she said. That evening, Jia-yun was called to meet with a Voidwalker leader. In a room with purple lights, a taller Voidwalker studied her through clear goggles. Human, it said in a clicking voice. You fight well. Why? Jia-yun said nothing. Other species fight for freedom or revenge. The Voidwalker continued. You fight differently. You plan. You watch. Why? Jia-yun looked directly at the leader. Because I'm going to escape, and I'm going to take everyone with me. The Voidwalker made a strange sound that might have been laughter. No one escapes. I will, said Jia-yun. That night, as the lights dimmed in the prison, Jia-yun put her hand against the wall of her cell. 1, 2, 3. On the 4th tap, Sora responded from 3 cells away. The message spread through the prison in a series of taps and scratches. Get ready. Tonight we move. In the research lab, Hyunwoo lay strapped to a table. Voidwalker scientists cut into his arm, taking samples of muscle and blood. They made notes about human biology. Subject shows unusual pain tolerance. One wrote, recommend deeper study of nervous system. They didn't know that the human female they feared was coming for them. 3 hours after lights out, Jia-yun's cell door slid open. Her new status as an elite fighter meant fewer locks on her door, just as she had planned. She moved silently through the dark hallway. 2 guards stood at the end. They didn't see her slip behind them. She pressed Hyunwoo's device, and they fell to their knees, clutching their heads. Jia-yun knocked them out quickly and took their key cards. She freed Daho first, then Sora, then Kreth. Soon, 20 prisoners were free, moving in groups to different parts of the prison. Kreth, take 5 and get more prisoners out, Jia-yun ordered. Sora, can you sense where they're keeping Hyunwoo? Sora closed her silver eyes. Lower level, east section. He's in pain. Daho, come with me, said Jia-yun. The rest of you, get weapons and meet at the ship bay in 1 hour. The alarm hadn't sounded yet. The Voidwalkers never expected a breakout during night hours. Jia-yun and Daho took a service lift to the lower level. They passed one guard who reached for his weapon. Jia-yun was faster. She didn't kill him, just knocked him out. You've changed, Daho said as they dragged the guard into a closet. When you first came here, you cried. I cried because I was angry, said Jia-yun. Now I use that anger. They found the lab where Hyunwoo was kept. 4 Voidwalker scientists worked on him. His chest was cut open, and machines beeped around him. We need a distraction, whispered Daho. Jia-yun shook her head. No time. She stepped into the doorway and threw her sound device into the room. The scientists screamed and fell to the floor. Jia-yun and Daho rushed in. Hyunwoo was barely awake, his eyes glassy from drugs. Can he walk? Jia-yun asked. Daho checked the machines. No, they've cut too deep. He needs to be carried. Jia-yun started unhooking the tubes and wires. Then we carry him. As they lifted Hyunwoo, one scientist crawled toward an alarm button. Jia-yun saw him and stepped on his hand. She leaned down. Tell your leaders, she said. The human is taking back what's hers. The alarm finally sounded as they carried Hyunwoo to the upper level. Red lights flashed throughout the prison. Voices shouted in the halls. They know, said Daho, fear in his voice. Good, said Jia-yun. Now they'll make mistakes. They reached a junction where 2 hallways met. Voidwalker guards ran toward them, weapons ready. Get him to the ship bay, Jia-yun told Daho. She handed him her key card. I'll hold them off. "You'll die," said Daho. Jia-yun smiled coldly. "No, I won't." As Daho carried Hyunwoo away, Jia-yun faced the guards. 6 of them, all armed. She had only her sound device and her training. It was enough. She pressed the device and threw it at their feet. When they bent over in pain, she attacked. 2 guards down in seconds. A third swung at her. She ducked under his arm and used his weight against him. The 4th fired his weapon, but hit his own man instead. Jia-yun took his gun and shot the last 2 guards. She had never used their weapons before, but it was simple enough. She ran toward the ship bay, shooting cameras as she went. She wanted the Voidwalkers to know exactly who was doing this. In the command center, the Voidwalker leaders watched in shock. Alarms blared everywhere. Reports came in from all sections of the prison. 38 prisoners escaped their cells. Lower lab destroyed. 6 guards down in Section 4. Ship bay under attack. The head researcher stared at the security footage of Jia-yun shooting the cameras. "How could this happen?" he asked. She was just one human female. His assistant pulled up Jia-yun's file. "Sir, remember the first day, when she cried? What about it? I think we misunderstood what those tears meant." Jia-yun reached the ship bay breathing hard. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead. Her stolen gun had 3 shots left. The bay was huge, with 10 small ships lined up for takeoff. Kreth and his team had secured the area. They stood guard at the main doors. Freed prisoners were climbing into the ships. "Jia-yun." Sora called from one of the ships. Daho brought Hyunwoo. "He's alive, but barely." Jia-yun nodded. "How many prisoners did we get out?" 117, said Kreth. "But more Voidwalkers are coming. We can hear them." Jia-yun looked at the control panel near the bay doors. "We need to open the outer doors to launch the ships, and we need to close the inner doors to keep the guards out." A loud bang shook the main entrance. The Voidwalkers were trying to break through. "Get everyone on the ships," Jia-yun ordered. "I'll handle the doors." She ran to the control panel and studied it. The symbols were alien, but she had watched the guards use it many times. She pressed what she hoped was the right button. Red lights flashed. The enormous outer bay doors began to slide open. Stars appeared in the gap, and the cold vacuum of space waited beyond. Another bang at the entrance. The doors were starting to bend. "Hurry," shouted Kreth. Jia-yun hit more buttons. Force fields activated around each ship, protecting them from the vacuum. Now she just needed to close the inner doors. The entrance burst open. 20 Voidwalker guards rushed in, firing weapons. Energy bolts hit the wall near Jia-yun's head. Kreth and his team fired back. 3 guards fell, but more kept coming. Jia-yun found the inner door controls and slammed her hand down. The huge metal doors began to close. Too slowly. "Get on the ships," she yelled to Kreth. "Go." Kreth hesitated, then ran for the nearest ship. The other fighters followed. Jia-yun was alone at the control panel. Guards were getting through the narrowing gap of the inner doors. She fired her stolen gun, hitting 2 of them. 1 shot left. The ships were powering up. Engines glowed blue in the dim bay. The first ship lifted off and flew through the outer doors into space. 5 more guards pushed through the inner doors before they closed fully. They saw Jia-yun and raised their weapons. She had nowhere to run. The control panel was in the open, with no cover nearby. Jia-yun pressed the last sound device in her pocket. The guards dropped their weapons, clutching their heads. She ran toward them, firing her last shot at the leader. The others she fought with her bare hands, using their pain to her advantage. 1 guard swung at her. Jia-yun ducked under his arm and broke it with a sharp twist. Another tried to grab her. She kicked his knee, breaking it with a crack. The 3rd guard caught her with a lucky hit. Jia-yun fell back, her vision blurring. The guard stood over her, weapon aimed at her head. A blue bolt hit him from behind. Daho stood in the doorway of the last ship. "Come on," he shouted. "We're not leaving without you." Jia-yun scrambled to her feet and ran to the ship. Behind her, the inner doors finally burst open. Dozens of voidwalkers poured into the bay. Jia-yun jumped into the ship as it lifted off. Daeho closed the door behind her. "You came back," Jia-yun said, surprised. "You taught us to stick together," Daeho replied. Through the viewport, Jia-yun watched the Voidwalker prison grow smaller. 8 ships had escaped. 8 out of 10. Not perfect, but better than she had hoped. Inside the prison, the Voidwalker commander reviewed security footage. He watched Jia-yun fight his best guards. He saw how she knew their movements before they made them. How did she do this? He asked no one in particular. She was here only 29 days. His second-in-command checked the calendar. "Sir, today is her 30th day." The commander's forehands tightened into fists. "Send the alert to all Voidwalker ships. Find those escaped prisoners, especially the human female." But deep down he knew. The woman who had cried on day 1 had become something else by day 30. Something the Voidwalkers feared. The 8 ships carrying the escaped prisoners flew in tight formation. Jia-yun sat in the command chair of the lid ship. Daeho piloted while Sora monitored communications. Hyun-woo lay in the back, stable but still weak. 3 Voidwalker battle cruisers following us, said Daeho. They'll catch up in 20 minutes. Jia-yun studied the star map on the screen. We need to reach the Gamma sector. Human patrol ships go there. We won't make it, said Daeho. Not with these slow transport ships. Jia-yun's face showed no fear. We need to contact the human fleet. Hyun-woo spoke weakly from his bed. The communication system. I can modify it to reach farther. Despite his injuries, Hyun-woo worked on the ship's communication panel. His fingers moved quickly, connecting wires and changing settings. It's ready, he said after 10 minutes. But we need to stop to send the message. The ship can't fly and broadcast at the same time. Jia-yun made a hard choice. Tell the other ships to keep going. We'll stop and send the message. That's suicide, said Daeho. The Voidwalkers will catch us. Not if we hide, said Jia-yun. She pointed to a small moon on the map. We'll hide there and send the message. Then we'll catch up. Their ship broke away from the others and flew behind the small moon. Daeho powered down all systems except life support and the communication array. Jia-yun recorded a message. This is Lieutenant Jia-yun Kim of Earth Fleet. I was captured with many others by an alien species called Voidwalkers. We have escaped but need immediate help. Following this signal are the coordinates of the main Voidwalker prison ship. It holds hundreds more prisoners from many worlds. Sending ship schematics now. She added all the information she had gathered about the Voidwalkers, their weaknesses, their technology, their prison. Hyun-woo sent the message on all frequencies. Now we wait, he said. The Voidwalker ships passed by, chasing the other escaped ships. But one ship detected their signal and turned back. They found us, said Sora, her silver eyes wide. Power up, Jia-yun ordered. We need to draw them away from the others. Their small ship burst from behind the moon, engines at full power. The Voidwalker cruiser followed, firing weapons that barely missed them. We can't outrun them, said Daeho. We don't need to, said Jia-yun. We just need to last long enough. An energy beam hit their left engine. The ship spun wildly. Stabilize, Jia-yun shouted. Daeho fought with the controls. The ship stopped spinning, but was badly damaged. The Voidwalker cruiser moved closer. A beam locked onto their ship, pulling them toward the larger vessel. They're taking us back, whispered Sora. Jia-yun stood up. No, they're not. She went to the weapons console and targeted the Voidwalker ship's tractor beam generator. With one precise shot, she destroyed it. Their ship broke free, but was still too damaged to escape. The cruiser prepared to fire again. Jia-yun closed her eyes, ready for the end. But the shot never came. A massive ship appeared from light speed. A human battleship. It dwarfed the Voidwalker cruiser and immediately opened fire. "They got our message," said Hyunwoo, smiling weakly. The Voidwalker ship tried to flee but was quickly disabled by the human battleship's superior weapons. Soon, their small damaged ship was pulled into the battleship's docking bay. Armed human soldiers surrounded them as the doors opened. Jae-yun walked out first, head high. A human captain approached her. "Lieutenant Jae-yun Kim?" he asked, surprised. "You've been listed as missing for over a month." "Not missing," said Jae-yun. "Just busy." Later, in the battleship's medical bay, Jae-yun stood beside Hyunwoo's bed. He would recover fully. The other escaped ships had been rescued too. The captain came to see her. "Your message contained detailed plans of the Voidwalker prison ship. We're mounting a rescue operation for the remaining prisoners." "I want to lead it," said Jae-yun. The captain studied her face. "The Voidwalker commander we captured said something strange. He said they've existed for thousands of years, but they've never feared any species until now. Until you." Jae-yun looked out the viewport at the stars. "They made a mistake," she said quietly. "They thought tears meant weakness. They didn't understand." "Understand what?" asked the captain. "That on day one, I wasn't crying because I was afraid." Jae-yun turned to him, her eyes hard as steel. "I was crying because I knew what I would have to become to defeat them." The story of the human female who brought down the mighty Voidwalkers spread across the galaxy. The woman who cried on day one, and by day 30 became the one they feared in the dark.